Good day, everyone. I am Carla Anastasio, and today we'll explore the unique advantages of radio. Radio has been an essential tool in reaching people across various demographics and locations, and even in today's digital age, it offers distinct benefits that other media don't. In this module, we will be discussing the 8 advantages of radio, as mentioned by Lucia, Tabing, and Osalia. The first advantage that we would be discussing is radio stimulates the imagination. First, radio has a powerful ability to stimulate the imagination. Since radio lacks visuals, it requires listeners to create their own mental images, which engages them more actively. For instance, in radio dramas, only voices and sound effects are used, prompting listeners to visualize scenes, characters, and emotions based on the sounds they hear. The ability to engage the imagination makes radio a unique and impactful storytelling medium. Let's listen to an example of a short radio drama.
Hey, welcome to the chess club. There aren't many people here, but please do enjoy playing games here.
Hey, thanks. I'll most certainly enjoy playing here.
Would you like to have a seat?
Sure.
I'll be cutting short for this example so we can proceed with our discussion. Also, the imagination is stimulated differently by radio. Radio's pictures are suggested by the sound of voices and sound effects, whereas the other media uses sight. So here is an example of sound effects. The demands that radio places on the imagination are significantly higher than those made by visual media because nothing can be seen on it. So for television, pictures are limited by the size of the screen, while for radio's pictures are any size the listeners care to make them. The next advantage of radio is intimate and personal. Radio is a very intimate and personal medium. Although it reaches many listeners at once, radio feels personal because it often reaches people in private settings, like their homes or cars. The human voice on a radio can convey warmth, emotion, and authenticity, creating a sense of closeness with listeners. For instance, when a broadcaster shares a personal story or speaks directly to listeners, it feels like a one on one connection. So, here, according to Mr. Gavin Reilly, a political correspondent at Virgin Media Television, the magic of radio is how personal and intimate it feels. It's company when you're alone in the car, stimulation when you're still waking up, headspace when you're winding down. It could be made for an audience of hundreds of thousands, yet still feel like a conversation between only two people. Also, in an online newspaper, Greater Kashmir, it's been said that, in other words, radio is a very intimate medium, touching the heart of listeners. It is a medium that leaves a lasting impression on the audience, as according to renowned broadcasters, listening to the spoken word without the aid of pictures require imagination. The pictures listeners create in their own minds last. A broadcaster who stirs the imagination needs to speak conversationally. And lastly, here's a quote from Harry Von Zell, an American announcer from 1925 to 1975. Radio is the most intimate and socially personal medium in the world. Some say that Von Zell's quote is true because radio's ability to reach people is what led to the golden age of radio and popularity of podcasts today. Moving forward to the next advantage of radio that we would be discussing is radio appeals to disadvantaged groups. So, one of the significant advantages of radio is its accessibility, especially for disadvantaged groups. Radio's affordability and portability make it one of the most widely available media, reaching people who might not have access to other forms of information and entertainment. So, for individuals from lower income backgrounds, rural areas or those with limited access to educational resources, radio is an invaluable resource. For example, in many rural communities, people may not have access to newspapers, and internet services might be unreliable or too expensive for them. So, in such cases, radio becomes a primary source of news, educational content, and even entertainment.
Langa ndine Bizwek Nakaya, ndine member wa Chigojo Radio Listening Group. Taphunzirapo kuti titha kuphimbira nthaka yathu kuti chimanga kapena mbewu za munda mwathu zisamavutike kukabwera ng'amba. So ndaphunzira kasungidwe ka mbewu zathu tikakolola kuzisunga bwino m'mapikisi bag kuti zisawonongeke. Ndinakolola matumba 9 achimanga koma anali osandikwanira kudya chaka chonse. Chaka chathachi cha 2019 ndinakolola matumba 46 koma chaka chinocho ndi mmene ulimi wayendera ndili ndi chikhulupiriro kuti ndizakolola matumba okwanira 48 kapenanso 50 amene.
The video is about the Farm Radio Trust, a longtime partner of WFP in Malawi in Southern Africa, which utilizes radio, a dedicated hotline, and text messaging to deliver weather updates and agricultural advice to smallholder farmers. And this initiative reaches over 700,000 listeners. Here in this slide, we would be discussing how radio overcomes geographical and physical barriers. So, unlike other media, radio can cross geographical and physical barriers easily. Radio waves can travel vast distances and can reach people in remote areas without requiring internet or electricity in some cases. This makes it ideal for conveying important messages to people in hard-to-reach areas, such as during emergencies or public health campaigns. Just a short sharing, I am actually working at a ship manning company. That is why I know the importance of radio for seafarers. So for this slide, I am going to show you about radio communication on board ships.
Are you curious about how container ships avoid collisions? This is going to blow your mind. It's all about radio communication. Let's dive into the world of maritime radios. Container ships use VHF radios to communicate with each other and shore stations. These radios are crucial for navigation, weather updates, and emergency situations. The International Maritime Organization, or IMO, sets the standards to ensure every ship can talk to each other, no matter the flag they sail under. Imagine Captain Jack on the high seas, chatting with port authorities miles away, all thanks to these radios. Without them, we'd have a chaotic ocean traffic jam. So next time you see a ship on the horizon, remember, those trusty radios are the unsung heroes keeping our seas safe.
Another advantage of radio is its immediacy. Messages can be broadcast to listeners almost instantly, which is crucial during urgent situations like natural disasters. For example, in the event of a fire, a radio reporter can provide real-time updates to keep the community informed and safe. This immediate reach can be life-saving in emergency situations. So here an example of a report of a radio reporter in DZBB covering a fire.
Sunog sa Santa Ana, Maynila. Itinaas na po sa third alarm. Si Manny Vargas, man, go!
Nagpapadagdag pa nga ng puwersa itong Bureau of Fire Protection Manila para tugunan itong patuloy na paglagablab ng apoy sa mga kabahayan dito sa bahagi ng Barangay 775, particular na dito sa Radium Street, dito sa may area na ito ng Santa Ana, Maynila. 6:28 ang itinasyan sa ikatlong alarma kung saan abiso sa mga motorista itong kahabaan ng Onyx Street. Ito yung mga daraan paling ng Pedro Hill.
Alright. For the sixth advantage mentioned in the book of Lustria, Tabing, and Osalia, radio's messages are tailored for listeners. Radio programming is specifically tailored to suit its audience. Unlike print media, where readers can skip around articles, radio listeners experience a carefully planned sequence of content. Broadcasters decide the order and timing of news, music, and stories, creating a seamless listening experience. This structured approach helps listeners to engage with the flow of information. To further explain, in print, a large number of news stories, articles, and features are set across several pages. Each one is headlined or identified. Readers scan the pages, choosing to read only those items which interest them. Meanwhile, with radio, the selection process takes place during program planning. The listener is presented with a single thread of material. Second to the last advantage that we would be discussing is radio has music. We all know that radio is known for its music programming, which can either serve as a pleasant background or be the main attraction for listeners. Radio stations play a wide variety of music from classical to pop, catering to different musical tastes and preferences. The difference of TV is that television visuals can offer additional visuals to enhance music understanding and entertainment, while radio controls the oral empire. Stations like Barangay LS 97.1, Wish 107.5, and 96.3 Easy Rock provide listeners with curated playlists and even promote new and local artists, helping to shape the music industry in the Philippines. Last but not the least, radio is an entertainment medium. In addition to music, radio offers a wide range of entertainment. In many places, especially the Philippines, radio is primarily seen as an entertainment source. With talk shows, comedy programs, and even interactive games, radio stations attract large audiences who tune in for a fun, engaging experience. This has shaped listeners' expectations and reinforces radio's role as a go-to entertainment medium. Here are the examples of radio stations that offer entertainment: MOR 101.9, For Life, Mixed Radio, and Barangay Love Stories podcast featuring Papa Dudut. So in conclusion, radio's ability to stimulate the imagination, reach diverse groups, and provides immediate and tailored content makes it a powerful and versatile medium. For our discussion points, among the 8 advantages of radio, which do you find to be the most relevant today and what makes it stand out to you? Second, can you tell me about your experiences with listening to the radio? I'd love to hear about any of your favorite shows or memorable moments or how it has influenced your music taste. So the last slide are my references. And that is all for my discussion for Module 8, Advantages of Radio. I'm excited to read all of your comments with our discussion. And once again, I'm Carla. Thank you.